There's an $800 billion cut buried in the new budget proposal, and they don't want you to know it's coming from Medicaid. They're trying to spin it, disguise it, but the math doesn't lie. Hi, I'm Lorena. Let's break down exactly what's happening, why these cuts have to come from Medicaid, and what we all can do to stop it. The budget proposal includes $800 billion in cuts, and while Republicans try to disguise it, they don't want you to see where the money is actually coming from. The reality is it has to come from Medicaid, otherwise the numbers just don't add up. They'll try to use words, you've heard it, the waste, fraud, and abuse, as a cover, but the cuts directly impact real people. They are deliberately not spelling out the Medicaid cuts up front to soften the blow. As of now, they can mask it to the general public, which is what they've done. But when they get to the next step where Congress will have to draft legislation to formally implement these cuts, that's when it's got to be clearly stated that Medicaid is being slashed. For now, they can avoid that specific, but once the legislative process moves forward, Medicaid cuts will be spelled out in black and white. Here's how we know it's Medicaid. The total cuts Republicans proposed only add up to 1.5 trillion, but they need to offset 5 trillion in tax cuts and spending increases. Medicaid is one of the largest federal programs. There are not enough other discretionary programs to cut that would make up that difference. Medicaid makes up a huge portion of the federal healthcare spending. The Republican leadership has repeatedly proposed Medicaid cuts. In 2023, they proposed slashing Medicaid by hundreds of billions. This is just a larger version of those past attempts. So we have history. We know they're going to do that. They are avoiding saying it directly, and instead of openly admitting it, they're hiding behind those vague language, like I said, waste, fraud, and abuse. But the numbers prove that they cannot make their budget work without gutting Medicaid. So once the legislation is clearly stated, there will be no way to hide it. It's at that point they will likely shift their argument, falsely claiming they're just targeting the fraud that they see. But there is no evidence of widespread fraud. The fraud argument just doesn't hold up. The program already has oversight mechanisms that are already in place. We need to be repeatedly asking them, show us the fraud. But ironically, if they actually found 800 billion in fraud, they wouldn't need to change eligibility rules. They wouldn't need to reduce benefits. The problem would be solved. So this argument won't work because it's affecting real people. They are not fraudulent. It's actually very insulting to even imply that. And according to several polls, 82% of Americans oppose these cuts. The real reason behind these cuts, why are they really doing this? The Republican plan is not about fiscal responsibility. They want to extend and make permanent the Trump tax cuts from 2017, which would cost $4.5 trillion. And on top of that, they're seeking increased spending for broader security and defense, bringing the total price tag to over $5 trillion. But their math, again, doesn't add up. The Medicaid cuts alone total $800 billion. Then there's the cuts to the school lunches, Head Start, student loans, Pell Grants, which add up to another $700 billion. Together, that's $1.5 trillion in cuts. Nowhere near enough for what they want to do. They want to offset the $5 trillion in tax cuts and new spending. So the gap is $3.5 trillion unaccounted for. So instead of making up the difference, Republicans plan to increase the national debt by $3.5 trillion. That's pretty ironic. They're contradicting their own rhetoric about fiscal responsibility. This move exposes their hypocrisy. They claim to care about the national debt, but now they want to add trillions to it. So to recap, they want $5 trillion in tax cuts and new spending. They're only cutting $1.5 trillion from social programs, and then they're going to add the remaining $3.5 trillion to the debt. This directly contradicts their past claims that the government should be cutting spending, not increasing debt. What happens if these cuts go through? Medicaid cuts will affect real people. This is not imaginary fraud. I know people. I'm sure you know people that this will affect. With 800 billion slashed, decisions will need to be made. Fewer people will qualify for Medicaid. Benefits could be reduced for those who are in the program. These people are already barely getting by. Cutting could genuinely cause great harm. Essential health services could be cut. This will be devastating. These cuts also impact the Affordable Care Act enrollees. They would see significant reductions in available support. So we need to stop this. We need to flip the seats and stop this. History shows that attacking healthcare backfires politically. We have proof. In 2017, Republicans tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Public outrage stopped them. In 2018, Democrats won the biggest House majority in modern history, flipping 41 seats. Healthcare was the top issue that drove that election. This same scenario is playing out again. And if we speak out now, we can stop these cuts before they happen. So here are some action steps. Spread awareness. Most people don't realize how deep these Medicaid cuts are. Actually, there's a lot of people that don't even believe that that's what they're trying to do. So please, please, please share this video with everyone you know, or if you don't like my video, share another video on this same topic. Sharing this information is key. 2, target vulnerable districts. Some House Republicans are in very competitive districts where public pressure can make them flip their vote. Who are they? Well, use the Cook Political Report, which provides up-to-date House race ratings, and I'll put the link below in the description below this video. Then grab the copy of my How to Take Action Without Overwhelm. It's free. It's a little simple guide that breaks down what you can do in as little as 5 minutes a day or less to help you fight for democracy. And again, the link is below. And also check out nonpartisan, reliable, fact-checked news. Don't take my word for any of this. Fact check it. And I've provided for free a list of, it's a simple spreadsheet of 20 news sources that actually are nonpartisan. So go ahead and check that out, or use your own fact checking, whatever you need to do. This is one of the most unpopular budget moves in history. If people take action now, we can stop it, or we can use it as a rallying point to flip the seats and reverse the damage. I don't want to go that route. I'd like to stop it. I'd like to prevent it from even happening. So as always, take action to make the rest of your life the best of your life. Ciao for now.